Hey everybody, glad to have you with us today. Prophecy in the Spotlight here, Brother Dan Goodwin and Dr. Charles Hiltibidal. Doc, today we're going to talk about something very sobering. I don't know when I've ever been so concerned about something. I've got like 5 different articles here. I doubt we'll get to them all. I'll try to just hit a few highlights, but it's about finances, about the finances of the world. Let me start out with something in Revelation. Chapter 13, of course, we know that that's the mark of the beast chapter, at least the end of the chapter is.
Right.
The beginning of the chapter gives us Satan's false trinity, talks about the 2 beasts, the Antichrist and the false prophet. Sad to say, very misunderstood by a lot of people. They get confused on that. There are actually 2 beasts, and one of them is the Antichrist, one the political leader, and then there's the religious guy. And then Satan makes up the other part of that trinity there. He tries to mimic and counterfeit everything that God has. And so here in Revelation chapter 13, let me just start in verse 11. I beheld another beast, so here's the second one coming up in verse 11. This is Revelation 13. Coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Sounds like some of our political leaders today, Doc. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. The first beast, just to be plain here, is the Antichrist. The second beast is the false prophet.
Religious system.
Yeah. And so he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. He pushes people to the Antichrist, which is the Messiah to them. And that's what the Holy Spirit does. The Holy Spirit pushes people to Christ.
In particular, to the Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it says, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. We're still talking about the false prophet, aren't we?
Yep.
Boy, you see that all over the place today in these charismatic churches, and
yes.
They're rolling around on the floor. Yep. They're making claims that God told me this, and it's most of it's scam, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've got their own apostleship now.
Yep.
Yep.
And he deceiveth them. Yeah, that's important. He deceives them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Notice the wording there.
Yeah.
In the sight of it's almost like without the Antichrist, the first beast.
He couldn't do that.
Yeah.
No. He's the one that gives them. Of course, we know that all of that deceptive power comes from Satan himself.
Yeah. And then it says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. That's the second time he mentions that this supposed death of this person. I believe it's fake, because I don't believe Satan can bring someone back to life. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You worship our God or you die.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, you're hearing it right now. I mean, if you don't follow the narrative we tell you, this is what we'll do to you.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing that in the political world today.
Yeah, we're watching it right now.
That if you don't agree with the administration and what they do, if you think they're crooks,
you're a disinformation person. You're a misinformation person.
And we need to be locked up or put in a camp or killed.
So the stage is already being set for what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this could be today's newspaper.
Yes, sir.
Now we're getting to the part I wanted to get to, but I mean, this is all leading up to it here. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. That covers about everybody.
That covers everyone.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. This is what we call the mark of the beast. And by the way, this is still the false prophet orchestrating this. Right. He's orchestrating the mark of the beast.
Yes.
And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Yes.
That brings me to my articles that I printed off here, Doc. The first one is a long one. I mean, there's a whole bunch of pages here. We can't go through all that, but I mean, look at all that.
All the articles.
And this is just one of them, I think. This is.
You showed me 2 or 3 of them. I said, I read those.
Yep, here they are. They got some others stapled here. Listen to this headline. This really caught my attention. The world. Now, this is Michael Snyder. We read something. We read something from him quite often. The world has accumulated a $315 trillion mountain of debt.
Yep.
And global events will soon bring it crashing down. Yep. Again, Michael Snyder's not one of these wacko guys. Yep. He puts some interesting stuff on there.
Even this week, even the leader of China has admitted that they are in great difficulty financially.
Yeah. Well, one thing that hit me when I read this, Doc, $315 trillion. What's a tenth of that?
Yeah.
$31.5 trillion.
Yep.
We've just passed that a little bit. I think we're 32 or 33. What's a trillion?
Probably more than, what's a trillion?
What's a trillion?
Yeah.
America owes a tenth of the world debt.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Well,
we're the most prosperous nation in the world, and we're debtors.
Yes,
now, the truth is it's more than that, because America's debt, $32 trillion, doesn't include the unfunded liabilities of Medicaid and all that stuff, and Social Security that's one of these days going to catch up to them because they spent it all, and the stock market derivatives.
Remember, they put it in a lockbox.
Yeah, they put it in the lockbox at their home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now there's a whole bunch. Look at the numbers. I know you folks on there can't see this, but he's got all these zeros. That's $315 trillion. You can't even.
But the big news in all that is, that he's really covering, is at some point in the very near future, it's all going to crash. The entire world's economy is getting ready to crash.
Because eventually you can no longer pay the interest.
Yeah.
And that's when you're doomed. Because then you default. You can't make the payments because.
But we're already entering, as America, we're already entering into a banana republic when it comes to the legal system, the political system.
Yep.
And we're almost there. We're headed that way in the financial system.
We very well could have a civil war. It'll be a little different than last time because it won't necessarily be states against states. It's going to be red against blue.
It seems like
I think folks know what I mean by the red and the blue.
Yeah. But
the political parties.
But to the subject we're looking at, to tie it in with what you've just read, it shows us that we must be getting close to a time when a global system is going to have to be introduced
to save the world.
To save the world financially.
And I think that's.
I mean, we can't all go back to living in a cave.
I said years ago, even before I get into prophecy, I had this possibility here. I'm not saying I'm right, but I've said for years, the carrot that the Antichrist will hold out there is debt forgiveness for the world.
True.
He's going to say, look, there's no way that the nations of the world can ever get out of debt. Let's end all debt. Now I guess that would mean personal debt. Like
I guess
like if you owe me $100, Doc, I guess that'd be forgiven too.
You're tough luck.
Yeah.
You're probably tough luck.
In other words, they would start with a clean slate. All debt would be forgiven.
Well, I've been saying for a long time that even just in America, that once we enter into this electronic money system, which could happen this year.
Yeah.
How could I sell it to the population?
They don't. They have that. It'll come via a crisis.
Yeah, it's going to be a crisis. But if you're one of these people that owes hundreds of thousands of dollars or even
where do I
tens
sign?
of thousands, where do I sign? And especially if you're going to put $10,000 in my bank account for me, and you're going to put some in there every month, as long as I can play video games, it's okay.
And I think that's what's going to happen. They'll forgive the debt, and they will somehow put digital money out there on everyone's account.
It's all It's worse than the fiat money we use now. Only thing is, they're going to control what you do with it. Or if you've done something they don't agree with, they take something away from you.
Let me read just a couple of these other headlines before the clock ticks down, Doc. Here's an article, Chris Martinson. The entire financial system can go down soon. That's the headline here. And this guy's not a quack either. PhD from Duke University. And he's an economic researcher. He says the entire system could go down soon.
Absolutely.
Listen to this one. This one is from the Daily Mail. Donald Trump was quoting something from them today. Doomsday CEO who correctly predicted the retail apocalypse, this was some years back, issues another stark warning about the U.S. economy being ready to crack. The fault lines of the U.S. economy are about ready to crack. That is the stark warning from one of America's top CEOs, Bob Nardelli. So that's an article out there. Here's another one, Doc. Here's another Daily Mail. Both of these are the Daily Mail. This one is from some L.Y. Armstrong, assistant consumer editor of the Daily Mail. He says this: J.P. Morgan chief Jamie Dimon issues ominous warning about U.S. economy. Now, just so the folks know, J.P. Morgan, we're talking about Chase.
Yep.
They own the Chase bank system.
Well,
I'm in Chase.
They own a whole lot more than that, let me tell you.
He says he issues a warning about the U.S. economy. Well, what about the rest of the economies of the world?
It's the entire world that's getting ready. So what this tells us, Dan, is if we're this close to that, and if what you read a while ago is the middle of the tribulation period, we must be getting close.
And that's what I try to tell people. Well, why do you guys talk about politics? It's not politics. This is the beast system we're talking about.
Yes.
Because we're that far down the road. This is the system that the beast is going to control.
Here's the thing. I've said this many times over the years, but in the last few weeks, it's really beginning to resonate with me. God gave us the prophecy what's going to happen. God's not making any of it happen.
That's right.
But God did not tell us how these things would happen.
Yeah.
And now that we're getting closer to it, we're beginning to be able to see how these things are going to happen and are happening.
It's like looking through a telescope, but it's a little blurry.
Yeah.
And as you play with the zoom,
get it focused.
all of a sudden it starts to appear, and that's where we are today.
Oh my. Yeah.
So I'm not trying to scare anybody. We're telling you, this is coming, the one world financial system. Something's going to trigger it, and I think it's going to be the collapse.
It could be, and it could be all the wars that they're getting us involved in. It could be the trade system. There are a lot of factors at play,
by the way,
but it's man-made.
We could be under the one world financial system before the rapture.
Absolutely.
Just because the mark of the beast hasn't happened yet doesn't mean we're not under a one world financial system.
At least the first early legs of it is
and
almost
we're certainly
here.
all connected digitally. The countries of the world's already connected.
Well, that's been for a long time, but ever more now with artificial intelligence, the ability to do that.
Well, folks, the TV show and the YouTube this week is going to be part 2 of our journey through the Revelation. Don't want to miss that. We're going to start up in chapter 5 of Revelation. We're going to see how far we get today. I'm thinking there'll be a third, at least a third. All right, until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.